Hi, and welcome back to the Positive Prepper. I want to give a special welcome to those of you who are new to the channel. The more people that learn to prep and are preparing, the less that we all have to worry about down the road in an shtf. So I'm glad you're here. Today I want to talk about bartering, specifically some great barter items. When we think of bartering, we often think about, I'll give you a cup of milk for a cup of sugar. But that's not always the case. You can trade items for someone else's skills or labor, or you can trade your own skills and labor for some of the food or necessities that you might need. And these are some things that you can absolutely start working on, kind of work on that value process. And one of the things to consider is what in your area might be really hard to come by in an shtf. Is it going to be harder for you to get milk and butter or coffee? If you're living way out, just look at some of the things that you might need in your area and that might be really hard to come by. Those are the things that you are going to want to stock up on specifically for bartering. Okay? And with most of these things, you can, if you stock up on Ziploc bags, you can use Ziploc bags to put these things in to make them easily transferable to the other person. So I have 10 things that are kind of, I think, really more important bartering items than others. So the first one is salt and sugar. Salt and sugar, everybody needs salt. You're going to want some kind of a sweetener when you're eating beans and rice for a while. And these hold their value and they last a long time. And again, you can take a cup of salt or a cup of sugar and put it in a Ziploc bag to barter with. The second thing is matches and lighters. If somebody has run out of ways to start a fire, this might be something that they need. Number 3 is coffee. Now, I personally am not a coffee drinker, but I know many people are, and so coffee's value will increase as time goes on, so that might be a really good thing. Even if you get those smaller packages of instant coffee, that's going to go a long ways towards bartering. The next one is feminine products, toilet paper, and diapers. I kind of put all of those in one. A lot of people don't remember to stock up on feminine products. And you can use, and then obviously toilet paper, that's a given. But diapers, besides the fact that if someone has a baby or is expecting when SHTF happens, diapers would be a really good bartering item. And not only that, but if you pour water on them and put them in the freezer, they make great reusable ice packs. So something to think about. Number 5, bartering items, your basic tools. So if you go through your garage or your tool shed or whatever you have, and you have extra hammers, screwdrivers, duct tape, screws, nails, all of those things can be really good barter items. Number 6, wool socks. Socks is, as far as clothing goes, I think clean socks and clean underwear are probably the 2 most important things. And in the wintertime, especially that we're coming up to, having those extra wool socks. If you have someone that's trudging through snow and their feet are getting wet and their boots are wet, having that extra dry pair of wool socks could be a really good barter item. Number 7, and I think this is an obvious one, your tobacco and alcohol. They are going to be great barter items, and of course their value will increase as time goes on. And so, a bottle of some kind of alcohol, a bottle of wine. I know that there are places that are selling canned wines super cheap. I know we can get them here at one of our local hardware stores for 99 cents a can for red wine. Handing somebody a can or two of that is going to be worth a lot of some of the other things that you need, or someone's skills and labor. Number 8, bar soaps, shampoos. Those little things that you get in the hotels when you rent a hotel room? Those are going to be perfect because you don't have to put them into a different container then. They're already in a tradable bartering size container. And then, of course, bar soap is going to last a long time, and you can just hand somebody a bar of soap. By that time, people are probably going to be washing in lakes and streams and ponds or whatnot. So that might be a really good barter item to consider stocking up on. Number 9 is medicine, especially if you can get a hold of extra antibiotics. And again, that would kind of be for the longer term thing, but if you're on a a prescription medication, you can't go very long without that. And so it's not going to take very long for that value to increase as time goes on. And then number 10 is your precious metals, your gold and your silver. I think of this in like a super long-term shtf. So this is almost like your Mad Max. Although it could come in handy before it gets to that long term, but gold and silver, 90% silver minimum, and then of course your gold. Very expensive to purchase right now. Silver is more easily obtainable, so that might be something you want to think about, getting some silver bars or whatever. But in time, they are going to end up being great bartering items. And not only that, but since I have been for quite a while encouraging you to get your money out of the banks, you may want to turn some of that cash into gold or silver. So those are my top 10 that I think are valuable bartering items. And again, you can trade your skills and labor for some of these items that you might need, or you can trade these for someone else's. There's 2 main bartering rules that you want to consider. The first one is if you are in that situation of bartering, and I'm talking, an shtf has happened, do not ever make the exchange at your location. And do you trust the person that you are bartering with? So will they hold up their end of the bargain if you trade goods for services? Are they going to hold up their end of the bargain? And as far as meeting at a neutral place, are they going to come alone? Make sure that you're not being ambushed. You just have to put a lot of thought and planning into how that's going to work. Those are probably the 2 biggest bartering rules, and start thinking about what the value of those things would be. So imagine that you're in an shtf. What is a bar of soap worth to you? Is that worth a cup of sugar, a cup of salt? It's really tricky because, again, it depends on where you are and what things are hard to get. So there's no golden rule for that. You have to use your own judgment. Now, there are 3 things that people have said, and I've heard it in the prepper community as well, that are good bartering items that I'm not sure I agree with. So I'd like to hear your thoughts on these. The first one is ammo. I'm not sure that I want to give somebody else ammo that they can potentially use against me in the future if they become very desperate. So that's just not something that I would ever trade. The second one is batteries. Now, it's easy to stock up on batteries. They're small. They don't take up a lot of room. You can get rechargeable batteries. But if you are in a really long shtf like Mad Max, at some point, the batteries that you have on hand are all going to get used up. And so the more that you use for bartering items, the less that you're going to have on hand. That's just my thought. That's just my opinion. Curious to see what you guys think about that one. And then the third one that is often talked about is fuel. Gas, kerosene, propane. Again, this is something I probably would not barter. Unless it was somebody that I absolutely trusted, that, you know, absolutely needed something like this. It was an emergency situation. But again, this is stuff that eventually you're going to go through, you're going to use up. And the more you give out as a barter item, the less you're going to have of it on hand for your own purposes. That's just my opinion. These are some things that are out there in the prepping community that could be barter items. There are things that I would not necessarily put out there. So what are your thoughts? Put that in the comment section below. Let me know what you think about this list. Are there things that I missed? Things that you think should be added to it? And then, of course, what do you think about the ammo, batteries, and fuel being used as bartering items? Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, please, and the notification bell so that you know when another video is coming out. Alrighty. Hope you all have had a great, wonderful day today. God bless.